India is poor compared to China, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, and even South Africa. Sure, here is the data and analysis that shows that China has lifted more people out of poverty than India. According to the World Bank, the number of people living below the international poverty line, $1.90 per day, in China fell from 88% in 1981 to 0.7% in 2015. This means that China has lifted over 800 million people out of poverty in the last 40 years. In comparison, the number of people living below the international poverty line in India fell from 55% in 1990 to 23% in 2015. This means that India has lifted over 300 million people out of poverty in the last 30 years. So, China has lifted more people out of poverty than India in absolute terms. In 2022, China's population was estimated to be 1.44 billion, while India's population was estimated to be 1.41 billion. If we look at the number of people lifted out of poverty on a per capita basis, then the picture is different. In 2015, China lifted 1.3 million people out of poverty per year on average, while India lifted 1.1 million people out of poverty per year on average. This means that China has lifted more people out of poverty on a per capita basis than India. In addition to China and India, Pakistan and Bangladesh have also made significant progress in reducing poverty in recent years. In 2015, the percentage of people living below the international poverty line in Pakistan was 26%, and the percentage of people living below the international poverty line in Bangladesh was 24%. This means that both Pakistan and Bangladesh have lifted over 100 million people out of poverty in the last 30 years. Finally, South Africa has also made progress in reducing poverty. In 2015, the percentage of people living below the national poverty line in South Africa was 26%. This means that South Africa has lifted over 10 million people out of poverty in the last 20 years. Overall, the data shows that China has lifted more people out of poverty than India in absolute terms. And China has lifted more people out of poverty on a per capita basis than India. Pakistan and Bangladesh have also made significant progress in reducing poverty, and South Africa has also made some progress. Here are some additional factors to consider when comparing the poverty reduction efforts of China, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and South Africa. The starting point: China and India started from very different levels of poverty in 1980. China's poverty rate was much higher than India's, so it was easier for China to make rapid progress in reducing poverty. The pace of economic growth: China has experienced much faster economic growth than India in recent decades. This has helped to create jobs and raise incomes, which has contributed to poverty reduction. The role of government: the Chinese government has played a much more active role in reducing poverty than the Indian government. The Chinese government has implemented a variety of poverty reduction programs, such as providing financial assistance, education, and healthcare to the poor. The role of inequality: inequality has been rising in China in recent years. This has slowed down the pace of poverty reduction, as the benefits of economic growth have not been evenly distributed. In conclusion, the data shows that China has lifted more people out of poverty than India in absolute terms. India has lifted more people out of poverty on a per capita basis than India. Pakistan and Bangladesh have also made significant progress in reducing poverty, and South Africa has also made some progress. The factors that have contributed to these different outcomes are complex and varied. While China, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and South Africa have made significant progress in reducing poverty, it's important to note that the extent of poverty reduction can be influenced by various factors including population size, economic growth, and social policies. China's poverty reduction. China has achieved remarkable success in reducing poverty over the last few decades. The World Bank reported that between 1990 and 2015, China lifted over 850 million people out of extreme poverty. This success has been attributed to its rapid economic growth, urbanization, and various government-led poverty alleviation programs. India's poverty reduction. India has also made significant strides in poverty reduction. According to the World Bank, from 1990 to 2015, the number of people living in extreme poverty in India decreased by around 271 million. While the reduction is substantial, India's large population means that there are still a significant number of people living in poverty. Pakistan and Bangladesh. Both Pakistan and Bangladesh have seen impressive poverty reduction rates. Bangladesh, in particular, has been praised for its targeted social programs and microfinance initiatives. Both countries have managed to achieve relatively high rates of economic growth, leading to improvements in living standards for many citizens. South Africa. South Africa has faced unique challenges due to its history of apartheid. While it has made progress in reducing poverty, income inequality remains a significant concern. Its social assistance programs and efforts to increase access to education and healthcare have contributed to some poverty reduction. Per capita basis. Analyzing per capita basis. Analyzing poverty reduction on a per capita basis can provide a different perspective. Countries with smaller populations might appear to have higher per capita poverty reduction rates. However, it's important to consider the context of each country's economic and social landscape. Remember that poverty reduction is a complex issue influenced by a multitude of factors. It's important to consider not only the numbers but also the broader socioeconomic and policy contexts of each country.